tonight, and two teams actually play ball.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed the Tulsa Live experience yet? If not, you're missing one of the best. Amazing food, great drinks, live music, TV.
We got AFC.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw out a random. Let me ask you this, time-wise.
Oh, we got Misty back.
Yeah, because it usually ends the first hour.
We could.
Just have a short segment.
Yeah.
Just a quick little short segment. I'm gonna.
Question.
So like what?
Has features as well?
Yeah.
Are we lunching today?
I guess.
Been pretty good combos.
Yeah, very good.
Yesterday, slow day.
Yeah.
Driving up. I was thinking to myself, I would say it's like a 50-50 proposition this year should be. Snow day.
Yeah. No, but
Trying to kill some
I had work today. I just left my kids at home. Yeah, I'm always, we've gotten to the point where we can do that. I don't like it because the boys kind of run amok.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that the belt was at your house because I took it to church to use it for illustration a while back, and I couldn't remember. I was like, man, we need to get Barrett because my other thought was we could have had, if the school didn't happen, is like bring Barrett in. Morning, Moy, shout out.
If school was canceled today, Molly wanted to come, but had to be at school at 10 and I didn't have time to drive back.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. As we get ready to wrap up hour number one. Again, shout out, we got Moy Garcia from Tulsa Live VIP Getaway Scream and Go. Appreciate them very much. Man, I don't know if y'all follow those guys on Facebook, but you know, they've got the VIP tailgate tonight for UT Ohio State. And if you've ever been to one, highly recommend it. I guess you can get there if you're there. You're gonna stay warm. They created they went from tailgate, made the tents enclosed. Some of the hardest working people, but it looked really cool. They had, I guess, there were heaters pumping into this tent, but they got Vince Young there tonight. Unfortunately, no playoff games for the Cowboys, but Vince Young tailgate tonight. If you're in the Arlington area, want to head over there. I don't know if Moy will tell me if there's 9 tickets available left, but they always do a great job, so appreciate them as well. It is time. Misty's not here. We've mentioned Zach Seitz is with us this morning, Josh and I. And so Don't forget Mulligan's. If you need a place to watch the game tonight or anything like that, go check them out. I appreciate Kyle King and all that they do. But we don't want to not get a chance for me to be Misty. So we're going to open up the bag.
You didn't even give me the opportunity to.
I know. That's,
Got them get the opportunity to open the bag. All right, so what you got in that bag? All right, here's the question. I've been thinking about this literally for a while since I had to be Misty. And being Misty's tough because she always has great questions. But I'm going to throw this out. If you were to have the TGL started this week, simulated golf, took off today. If you hit it out of the fairway, you put it in real grass, put it in sand, put it in rough, and then they got green. First of all, did you catch any of it? What's your thoughts? And then I'll give you the question.
I did not catch it, no.
Yeah, I watched about half of it. For a Tuesday night in January, that there's not a lot going on. It was fairly entertaining. I get that some of the blowback, but if you're going into that thinking you're watching actual golf or a golf tournament, no, that's not what it is. It's an entertainment product, and as an entertainment product, I think that's great. It's not going to replace tournament golf, nor are they trying to.
Well, it's like, and again, it's not supposed to. It's fun. They're going to compete. They talk trash a little bit. It's playing with your buddies at a indoor golf range. You just happen to have a crowd, and you're dressed with the same clothes, which is weird, but I guess that's being. It's basically like, the bowling alley or the dodgeball teams, but they're playing golf. So here's my question. Who would you want on your team, friend and celebrity?
So I got to go play in this.
You're playing in.
It's for money.
Yes. Well, it's a lot of good time. No, forget the money. It's just a great time, and if you win, great. If not, you just want a great time. Simulated golf, good time. Who you playing with?
Man, I don't know. That's
Oh, that's a very good Misty question then, because you're stumped.
well, I am because I didn't watch and I have no idea what it looks like. I intended to. I just got sidetracked and then it's like, oh yeah, that happened.
Well, Zach did, so we'll let Zach go first. It's real golf on real. I mean, let me rephrase it. They got a pad that's grass, a pad that's kind of like fairway roughish, and then they got sand. They don't have a water one because you won't hit it all that, but they should. That'd be a lot of fun. You have to take your shoes off and try to hit it out. Who'd you pick?
So if I'm competing, obviously Scotty Scheffler's going to be at the top of that list, and because I love him, Jordan Spieth. Although that pains me to pick two UT guys, but they're from Texas, so I'll go with that answer. Although that's probably a little too chalky of an answer.
All right, Josh.
Well, I mean, I guess yeah. If you're
He's wanting to win. If you want to just have a really good time.
well, then I would just go with I don't know, John Daly. Is there smoking allowed in this facility?
For John, yes.
So we'll make an exception. Go with John Daly and Bill Murray from Caddyshack.
I'm not gonna lie. That's who I had that you were gonna say in my head.
Yes.
Yes, Lee Trevino would be good. I think a lot of it. I think it'd be fun. My celebrities would probably be Scotty would be neat.
Don't say that.
No, I wouldn't say that way. Trevor Lawrence. No, I'm just kidding. But
Trevor.
this one kind of pains me. But if there was a guy that is not pulling me toward this tour, he's not. But a guy that's kind of replaced Phil Mickelson is Bryson DeChambeau. He's kind of become the favorite. He's done the house over. Did you see he had a fan or somebody got and hit the hole in one for $100,000 or something like that? I think Bryson would be interesting. Bill Murray was going to be one of mine that I think would have been interesting to play golf with there. But I got Robert Cheek just said Steph Curry. And then I would see if he could shoot it into the. Steph Curry is a pretty good golfer. Since I'm not Misty, but playing Misty, she would want Tony Romo.
I was going to say Tony Romo.
She would want Tony Romo 100%. Man, I don't know. I do think Bill Murray would have been one of mine, but you stole. I think Van Pelt would be fun to hang out with, and the other one, ESPN the caddy, because he's just a funny little heavyset fella. ESPN Michael Collins would be fantastic. So now you just think about this, and we're going to go to break.
Funny little heavyset fella.
Yeah, but if you go back to, if you think about it, if you got 3 lanes or 1 bay, you've got Bill Murray, John Daly, and Josh. You've got Scotty Scheffler,
I feel
and,
pretty good about that chance.
and Jordan and Zach, and then you've got me and who are the people that said Steph
I
Curry?
don't know, you said 17 people.
Van Pelt and Michael Collins. It would be pretty funny. But anyway, there you go. That is Misty's Bag, brought to you by Mulligan's. Misty will be back asking those questions next week. When we come back, 5 days in a row of playoff football. Yesterday was college football. Tonight is college football. And tomorrow the NFL starts. Obviously no Cowboys. Who's the threat to the Chiefs? Is there anybody? We'll start with the AFC when we come back and kick off hour number 2 right after this.
Bill? Hodge did, I don't remember if you did, submitted your teams for the. It's always fun, this eliminator thing, but it's like you're sitting there looking at it, you're obviously thinking, all right, well, I don't want to pick the Bills and the Ravens. But,
It creates a lot of stress.
Yeah. Because, those teams are going to be around for a few weeks, I think, and then every year I get cute and lose.
So stupid.
It was just like,
See, I've tried it both ways though.
yeah,
I've tried to do it, all right, sure picks, and then you get to the championship round, and I've got nobody left.
that's what I looked at.
Real quick, Moy said those things that were pumping in, I'll try to see on Facebook, put in 1 mil BTUs.
Goodness.
I mean, they were huge, just like, I guess, heater things pumping into this tent as they were getting stuff ready for their tailgate.
British thermal units.
Huh? They're what? What'd you say?
British thermal unit.
Oh, yeah.
What it is.
It's hot.
Yes.
Well, the problem is you want to go and gamble on that Survivor deal, but
Well,
then you're like,
yeah, but then you lose.
but do it.
Yeah.
Generally have found too that whoever wins that year after year is not somebody that's putting just a ton of thought into it, but
Yeah, well, I was
always
looking,
seen somebody win.
I've got it, they're all saved on my cloud, from the previous years so yesterday I was looking back, and last year it got to the Super Bowl and nobody had
anybody left.
Just
It's
like,
so chalk last year
mhm.
in the playoffs that everybody was thinking at some point there's going to be an upset.
There were people that had to pick, I guess it was the 49ers that lost in the Super Bowl. I'm trying to remember. There were people that had them left, so had to pick them, but then they lost. Yeah, so we don't have many people that have signed up, so I don't know if send a reminder out.
Did Jeremy McBrayer send anything?
Yes, he said he was,
20 rounds.
yeah. He said that he was in, but I don't think he's paid.
Paying for half.
Has Dempsey paid me yet?
No, not 50.
Yep, I got my $10. I got a lot of money in my Venmo right now because I'm still holding all the money for the college football,
Oh, yeah.
and then this. So I look at it and I'm like, man, I can spend something. Like, no, it's not my money. Okay, what?
Why are you just giving me a gift certificate that you have only $12 left on it? Well, I've spent your money.
Well, you see what happened was,
That money's gone.
Hey, but you won. that conference thing.
a stack of random gift cards with a little bit left on them.
If you combine them all together, we do need to come back to knowing at the battle
Yeah.
when football's over.
Yeah. which goes to my hatred of gift cards and why I'm just like, just give people cash.
It's the same.
Because people are like, well, no, it's less personal. They get them the gift card to someplace they like. Yeah, and then you end up with a gift card with $3.27 left on it, and you're like, what am I going to do with this? And you forget that you ever have it. Yeah, like.
I think the other hard
It's like
part
I have to wait. Like if you give me a $50 gift card to wherever, I have to wait until I'm going to spend over that amount so I can cash the whole gift card. Like,
Otherwise, it's wasteful.
right.
It is time for hour number 2, brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. Get them over there at ColemanCountyBank.com if you need any mortgage or banking issues, new house, new mortgage, all the news. Tammy and the
You're on
mortgage
the top
team.
of your game today.
Oh, you daggum right. Good thing they're not subtitled, especially for the beginning of the show. I don't know if I can put that first word in the podcast title, but there's a chance.
I mean,
It might start
is
people.
it a bad word? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Sharp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
I didn't say it.
Yeah, no, I think it's
I just-
fine.
Hodge said it 15 times.
He did over and over again. It was,
Well,
it
and
was
one-
like stuck on repeat. I was
But
confused.
it was like a record skipping.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's like you got your wires crossed
Yeah.
somehow.
Get
and like,
your DVD, get your CD off the console and put it back somewhere flat.
I do remember that when you had to hold the Discman when you're driving down the road
Yeah.
because if you set it down, it would skip.
Or if you came across your favorite part and you came across a railroad track, you missed that song.
It's just over.
Yeah, but again, it is time for hour number 2. We're glad that you're with us. Don't forget JB Cloud coming in at 10, and of course Greg Austin this afternoon, and High Lonesome this weekend. So it's NFL time again. The whole thing, 5 days of playoff football, college football tonight, UT, Ohio State, and tomorrow we'll start the NFL Super Wild Card Weekend. Has this replaced divisional weekend? You know, they make divisional weekend the best weekend of football. Has this kind of replaced it, that you've got the college and the football all in one weekend, or is it overload?
It is overload. It's great.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
I love overload.
I do
It's
too.
like
We're
the
gonna
March.
miss
The,
this.
it's
Yeah.
like the March Madness. You know, you have that first weekend of March Madness for 4 days straight of just like, I don't know which TV I want to watch, and we're now the football's more spread out, so you can pick, but it's just like constant.
And you know ESPN has it, and so you don't have to go looking for True TV or anything like that. But the first week you had to do it because some were on TNT, and anyway. But you're exactly right. So it's a great weekend. Football starts tomorrow in the AFC. We'll start with the AFC. We'll do it some take or trash in a moment. You got the Chargers heading to the Texans.
Which if Houston makes the playoffs in any given year, they are going to be in that 3:30 Saturday afternoon slot. That is where they put them every single year because, let's be honest, who cares about Houston Texans?
Well, yeah.
Well, and that is true. And they've kind of,
Everybody's
everybody's
such a large market. You know, like it's.
well, and to be
It doesn't help that you're playing the Chargers, who also nobody cares about.
right, but then you look at everybody's looking at the Steelers spiraling out of control, losing their last 4, getting in the storylines of Mike Tomlin and the Steelers and Russell Wilson and Harbaugh and Jackson.
Oh, and that game is on Amazon. You have to have a.
Oh, there you go, Prime. There you go.
Yeah.
Never mind, they're not college football, but
Yeah,
in
the
all
college
that,
football was on ESPN.
But you look at the Texans are kind of that team that hadn't just they've battled injuries. They've had a lot of receivers go down. CJ Stroud is not, he's had a sophomore year, if you would.
Sophomore slump.
Yeah, sophomore little slump, if you'd say. This is a one that I think could be interesting. Then you got the Steelers and the Ravens and the Bills and the Broncos.
Mhm.
Of these, I'll throw out the first, not take it or trash it, just storylines that you're looking into this first round of the AFC playoffs happening tomorrow.
Well, I mean, how bad the Steelers actually are is one of those things that I'm interested in seeing. They're playing the Ravens, so I don't give them much of a chance, even if they were playing well.
But
they're
does it
not.
help? Does it help the familiarity of the two give a little bit of a chance for the Steelers?
Well, I mean, it's a full-fledged rivalry, so as they say in rivalries, weird things happen. But they've not been playing well.
No, I've called them frauds all year. The last month or so, they've started to prove me right. I don't think Russell Wilson is a good quarterback at all. They have way too many flaws on that team. Yes, it is a divisional rivalry. I just don't see that being that close, unless somehow there's a weather issue that keeps it where Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball around.
Looks like he is going to be without Zay Flowers, which, again, to me, this is one you got to remember that you went and got Derrick Henry, introduced Mark Andrews back in. I think he's the difference maker. Take it or trash it, Russell Wilson is a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Trash.
I agree with Zach, but the way this typically works, I think that he will be. I
get that he won a Super Bowl and he had a lot of good years, but
he's a handoff away from winning two. He's a handoff away from winning two.
And he had a run there of 4 or 5 years that he was considered one of the top quarterbacks in football. So
okay.
But those were after the Super Bowl. Both of those Super Bowls, they got there and won one because of that defense, not because of it.
True.
Yeah. If he were to retire after this year, Lamar Jackson is a Hall of Famer now. Take or trash it.
I'm going to trash that because the longevity would be an issue and not ever winning a big game.
See, I agree. And they were talking on Unsportsmanlike, a couple others, that Russell Wilson, not a Hall of Famer, Lamar Jackson is. I think they're thinking more Lamar Jackson on his way to.
Oh, he's on his way with 2 MVPs and all of that.
And again, Hall of Fame.
Win that Super Bowl, though.
Yeah, or at least get there and have some success. They've got a monkey on their back as well. Broncos and so what about your thoughts? He went Ravens Steelers. What's your thoughts in this first weekend or these first round of the AFC?
Chargers Texans game. I think the biggest storyline on that is Harbaugh as first-year coach there. How is he going to do? He has turned that team around. Interested to just see how he does in that matchup. I think that's the biggest storyline in an otherwise NFL playoff game that leaves a lot to be desired.
You're right. It's they're the opposite of the Steelers as far as like they started slow. Herbert didn't look that good at the first of the year, and it's just, I guess putting that system in and getting things going the way that he wanted it to go, and it's build and build and build.
But they've been the same. They've been similar as the Texans, and they've had injury issues. J.K. Dobbins got hurt again, was out. He's back. Keenan Allen goes off to Chicago, trying to figure out who your receivers are. That's been a whole.
Well, I think they found him.
Yes, he's been big, a big addition. Georgia receiver has been a big addition. I think this is a game about, can Justin Herbert prove himself? They blamed it on Stanley for many years, going on fourth down, all those analytics. Can he prove himself? And what a storyline going to be. I don't think it's going to happen. Robert Cheek, watch and listen. Chiefs are the favorable and all those things, and other teams besides the Chargers to win it. But you've got a guy that just won the national championship at Michigan, comes to LA and has them battling and in the playoffs. And I think they have a very good chance to go into Houston and win this game tomorrow.
I agree. Harbaugh has set Herbert up for success. They run the football. That is what they are.
And defensively, they're good.
They're taking the pressure off of Herbert and giving him opportunities through play action or otherwise to make successful plays.
Okay, I'm going to go down to the other game, Broncos-Bills. We talked about Russell Wilson. Is what we're seeing through Bo Nix and Sean Payton a reflection of Sean Payton and what we saw last year? Russell, if you could have listened and got out of your office, maybe you would still be in Denver and be successful, or were the personalities just so drastically different that was the problem?
I think it certainly proves, at the very least, that Sean Payton still has it, and the success he had with Drew Brees in the Saints wasn't just Drew Brees, but Sean Payton is a really good coach. He has gotten the absolute most out of Bo Nix, who when they drafted him, I thought was going to be a bust and a waste of a first-round pick, and he has turned out to be, right now, the best quarterback in that draft class.
Oh, he has, and
But unfortunately, Jaden Daniels is probably going to win Rookie of the Year.
well, and Daniels has done
Not unfortunately. Yeah, and not
Daniels
unfortunately. Not
Daniels
unfortunately.
had
Sorry.
a lot of flash to his game because he's very athletic and
Coming off the Heisman.
right, and so but he's kind of stalled out as the year has gone along, and Bo Nix has just, as he's worked with Sean Payton, just gotten better and better.
He's steady and makes the right plays. Doesn't make mistakes, or very few.
Of the teams that could upset, again, I don't know. I'm looking at it. The Chargers are actually.
Chargers are the favorite.
So it's not an upset, but it's on the road. Ravens, obviously 9.5 point favorite. And then you've got.
The Bills are a big favorite.
Of those three, which one do you see the upset happening in?
If you're going off of what the line of the game is, it's got to be Houston. You're hosting the game. You're playing at home. That in itself would have to give you pause picking the Chargers in that game.
How much do you think goes into how many of these Chargers have my mind on the Fires come into play?
I don't know. I
don't know. I don't know where anybody lives or anything like that. But knowing that that's going on back home, or do you go like the Rams are saying, we're going to go play for these people, and it's an added incentive as you go play this game?
I don't know. I mean, because each individual person has different responses to things, but so I don't think that really plays into it.
Large, this time of year, playoff football, every one of these guys and coaches are so single-minded on what.
So do you think the Chargers, going back to upsets, do you think the Chargers of the three that have a chance to actually win, even though they're not the underdog, or do you feel like the Texans will beat the Chargers?
I don't think the Texans will, but Pittsburgh's not beating Baltimore. Baltimore at home. Denver with a rookie quarterback, as much as he's done a lot of great things in his rookie year, Bo Nix and the Broncos are not going to Denver or to Buffalo, and beating the Bills. So it's got to be that game.
I agree. If you told me like you've got to put $10 on an underdog for the AFC, it would be the Texans. I don't think the Texans are going to win, but that's
I don't either. I think they got a lot of things, and honestly, I think Harbaugh coaches himself to that victory, or coaches the Chargers to victory. Most pressure in that of those AFC teams. You got less than a minute before we go to commercial. Who has the most pressure
this weekend or the entire playoffs?
Entire playoffs this weekend combined a little bit because the only other ones will be the Chiefs. So.
I mean, in the playoffs, I think the Bills have the most pressure to prove that they can get past the Chiefs. It's just the overall AFC dominance of NFL dominance that the Chiefs have had. And the big games that those two have gone against each other, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes, all of that's wrapped into that. So the Bills, you mentioned the monkey on the back. If they can't clear that and go deeper in the playoffs than the Chiefs, it's just happened again.
I think it's Lamar Jackson. Like we talked about earlier, his resume has a big absence on winning big games. You can't this weekend lose at home when you are heavily favored against a divisional rival. You've got to win some big games, and
he's almost like the James Franklin of quarterbacks.
Yeah, that monkey, those voices are only going to get louder if he can't make a deep run and beat either the Bills or the Chiefs.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think both those guys. I think a hidden one that if you wanted to get deep in a little bit on the Hall of Fame question, on the staying in the league question, is Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson can find a way to not make mistakes and get past the Ravens, now you've eliminated one of the best. You've beat an two-time MVP. And you put him on the back burner, and now have you bought you another year in the league, or is he playing tomorrow before he decides, do I go to a booth or now do I become another carousel
Oh,
quarterback?
if Russell Wilson if the Steelers were to win and Russell Wilson had a large part in that, which he would just by not making mistakes, I mean, that would be the only way that they could win is he not make any mistakes and their defense come up big. But yes, it would further his legacy and be, it would change his career arc the rest of the way.
Just give him a little bit of a boost. Again, I'm just throwing that as a look at. I agree with Allen. I agree with Lamar, but also Russell Wilson could really do something for himself and Mike Tomlin, who even though he's won a Super Bowl, doesn't have a losing record, has not won a playoff game in the last 5 years, longest streak in franchise history. Now we go from the AFC to the NFC. Can Baker bake? Can Sam Darnold do his thing? All the things when we come back. NFC playoff picture next. Hey, here are those press play on that. Those are those big heater things that they're using that they brought in.
That goes cost a pretty penny to rent. What tailgate is this?
So Chris, they got that VIP tailgating, and they've got that boiling tails across the street from AT&T, and it's cool. I mean, food, drinks, right across the street. Just walk over. It's a good deal. Moy, Donovan, they work their butts off.
That's cool. I hate that the weather's made it this way for them. Yeah,
But they found a way to make it work. How do I want to come back?
Today's one of those Fridays I feel like it's just gonna feel like a long day. Well, I've got stuff to do, but it's not like, I don't feel like I'm just gonna be slammed all day, but there's some key things I need to take care of. But then I'm just ready for the weekend. Yeah. And, this was kind of the
You'll be looking. Is
the
it
first like
lunchtime
kind
yet?
of back
Is
to
it
normal
lunchtime yet?
week, and, but then we had the snow day, and, which was stupid. We can talk about snow days on. Because snow days like yesterday are like, well, first of all, I understand you have kids traveling to school.
Appreciated like Abilene schools waiting till yesterday morning before.
Yeah, everyone just canceled.
So many eyes.
Yeah.
Wednesday afternoon, and then school closed the rest of the week.
And it looked treacherous outside, but it was completely drivable.
Yes.
No problem at all. And so
It's a no-win situation for those suits.
oh no, it is. And obviously you make that decision if you say go to school and some kid slides off into a bridge embankment, then like everyone will scream that they shouldn't have been having to go to school. And you don't want that, just not on a personal level, much less just a pressure level. But I was thinking like, causes all the logistics problems, like what I do.
Everybody's going 20 miles an hour.
Yeah. And then on a day like yesterday, the snow wasn't even like, go play outside. It was just sloppy, icy, like mess. So you don't get the benefit of the snow day as a kid. And there's gonna be some day, in the spring that you have to go to school that you were gonna have a day off.
Speak for yourself.
Well, okay.
What's that?
The snow, my house was, I don't know, just, it rained. I'm like,
Did rain yesterday afternoon. Got it really bad.
so we made no snowman.
I didn't want to. AJ was pretty upset that it was a snowman.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between. Hour number 2 here on 106.9 The Country Giant. Listen to us anywhere in the world, KLGD1069.com. And of course, don't forget to download, subscribe, rate, and review. We just covered the AFC playoff Super Wild Card this weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs having the bye again. Our Black Plumbing social media question of the week was, are you getting Chief fatigue, Mahomes fatigue, or do you want to see the three-peat? I'll throw that out to you guys before we start the NFC. Are you getting it, somebody new, or is what Mahomes, Andy Reid, Kelsey, all the things that the Chiefs are doing good, bad, and different?
You have to absolutely respect the greatness from those three guys and the amount of times they get back to the same position year after year, and at the same time, be just kind of tired of it. And that happens with any team. That the saying from Batman, you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. Well, now the Chiefs are the villain because everybody's tired of it.
I agree with that completely. It obviously reminds me of Belichick and Brady, the Patriots, and how at the time I was so over it. And then as time went on, I began to respect it and think like, okay, we're watching greatness. I can appreciate that, to the point where when Brady went and won that Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, I was there for it. I was kind of like cheering for it, so it kind of turned around as that went along. But I'm squarely in my over it phase with the Chiefs right now, and just somebody else win so we can just talk about something else.
All right, Chiefs win it all. We got to get to the NFC because they play 2.
Oh, they do. I thought
Mahomes
when the Cowboys were done, we were just finished.
That is true. That is true. Go Eagles.
Yeah.
There you go. Thought he might fall out of his chair. If Mahomes wins 3 in a row, something that Brady did not do, does the GOAT start changing addresses, or does the GOAT stay put because of 7?
Well, it's 3 in a row is certainly a massive accomplishment that nobody else has done. That in itself does not change. Mahomes is going to have to do this for a lot longer. This will be number 4 if they win this year. That's great, and he's well on his way. And you could probably talk me into saying he's already one of the top 5-10 quarterbacks of all time. But he's still got a ways to go to get to Brady.
We talked about this last year, and it's interesting to remember. Troy Aikman had 3 Super Bowl wins at the same age that Mahomes has 3 Super Bowl wins. Never won another one. I think Mahomes is set up more to have that next win than maybe the Cowboys were, as it kind of started to fall apart after the Jimmy Johnson debacle. And
Cowboys should have had 4 in a row.
Right. Yeah. So I'm just saying that as far as like when you think about where he ranks all time and how is the GOAT not going to be Brady anymore. There's still time to tell, because Troy Aikman was in that same place and nothing, just was retired early and all the things that went with it.
And if the rules were today, back then, Troy would still probably be playing now. I mean, he still looks like he could play today, but anyway. The other thing I think we forget about on Tom Brady's side is not only did he win 7, he's a catch from Tyree and a Philly special away from having 9 or 10. I mean, he's lost to Eli twice, the Eagles the other time. I mean, to me, you got to look at that too. Yes, the 7 that you won, but you went to 10 Super Bowls.
They were in the AFC Championship for like 16 straight years.
Yes, very impressive. So let's leave the AFC and Brady and all that. And good morning, Chris Randolph again at the Cotton Bowl Classic there tonight. Texas, Ohio State playing at 6:30. Can UT advance? We'll see. AFC, same similar stuff that we looked at a while ago. We'll do some take it or trash it. If you got any, let me know. Packers, Eagles, Commanders, Bucks, and of course the Vikings and Rams playing Monday night. That game's been moved to Arizona because of the fires out in the Palisades area. Of these games, which one intrigued you, and is there a favorite in this batch to overtake Detroit? Can somebody get past them in this batch here and make it to the NFC Championship and maybe even to the Super Bowl?
Well, yes, because Detroit has injury issues that they're not 100%.
Hardly had a defense.
Yes, and I think all of these teams that are playing this weekend, the Vikings, obviously because they keep
Pumpkin showed up.
Yeah, the Eagles are good, and I don't like that.
Well, but that's dependent on is Jalen Hurts even playing this weekend?
Yeah, he was fully practiced. He was a participant, but is he going to be at full tilt? Is he, because he was concussion, correct?
Yeah, I don't know that he's completely clear of protocol either.
So he's practiced, but will he be in? I think the teams that intrigue me the most, I still don't know about the Vikings. But the team that I think is starting to play well, and the quarterback matters, the coach matters, people starting to get healthy matters. I just wonder how dangerous are the LA Rams?
Well, they're playing decent football.
They are. I just in the NFC where it is far more wide open than the AFC, I believe. I just have a hard time talking myself into the Rams actually making a run at this.
I think the Packers, of course, they did what we did. Unfortunately, Chris and Moy watching, they were there last year and witnessed it on side on what Jordan Love and the Packers did to the Cowboys. I don't see that happening this weekend against the Eagles. Has there been, and you look at the 2 running backs that went to go do new places in Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, what Saquon's done for Philadelphia, not only to escalate them, he's got the play of the year where he hit circle on PlayStation, jump, turn backwards, did like a X Games move that you would see on a skateboard over a dude. Possibly has saved Nick Sirianni's job. Along with Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore, is he going to be a head coach next year? All those things. Which of these games intrigue you the most for the weekend? And again, I throw it out. Is it Detroit's NFC Championship, NFC berth to lose, or Josh, is Zach right in that as wide open it is, this is March Madness on this side of the bracket?
I do believe that it is wide open because these 3 games, the 3 AFC games, 2 of them I'm pretty certain who's going to win. These 3, there are favorites, but it would not surprise me.
Not into any of them.
Yes, it would not surprise me if any of these 6 teams are the ones that advance. So it's much more wide open. As you mentioned, the Packers and Love were on the road last year in the playoffs and just demolished Dallas, which set the whole chain of events that we're still stuck in today. So it's still kind of hurts. But
yeah, they're playing Philly.
Yeah, but they're playing what I feel is the best team that's playing in the NFC this weekend. So
when you think about it, what they've been able to do and find a way to battle and get through with Jalen Hurts on the side, they've gone through turmoil of Jalen not liking AJ Brown to all the things that they had leading into being a pretty good situation to be that team to make the run. Of these games, so it is wide open. Who do you have winning these 3?
I'm gonna go as much as I think the Green Bay Philly game is going to be the most intriguing, or the one that catches my eye the most. You've got to take Philly, especially if Jalen Hurts is back. Interested to see how Jalen Daniels does.
See, I think the bottom two games are the best two. I think the Eagles destroy Green Bay, and I think the Bucks Commanders, because the uncertainty of the quarterback, which one will play better quarterback wise, and then in the next one, Sam Darnold, who was written off by the Jets, written off, went to the Panthers, went off to 49ers. Maybe he got rejuvenated by Kyle Shanahan, goes to the Vikings, and whether he's the Vikings quarterback next year or somewhere, if he can play well in this game, and maybe even if he doesn't play great, is going to get paid next year. I think these bottom two games are the ones that could be the most intriguing because of quarterback play, can the coaching work out, and all those things.
No, I agree, because I think the Commanders Bucks, I really struggle on who I would pick in that game. That's probably the game that I have the most pause making a pick, just because.
When you talk about survivor pool, I stay away from that game.
Oh no, there's not one there that I'd risk moving forward with either one of those.
That's when you have your buy-in back money in your hand
Yeah,
while
just
you're
go ahead.
watching. I'm pretty sure this is a gamble. Don't know which color on the roulette wheel I pick.
And the Vikings have given me pause all year long, even though they're only lost 2 games. Is that
They're 14-3.
3 games?
Yeah.
3 games.
But haven't beat anybody good. What does the Rams qualify as?
Exactly. So it's like, and I've said it about Sam Darnold since they went on their first little run at the beginning of the year that I thought ended against the Jets in London. Was at what point is he just going to be Sam Darnold again? And it could happen on Monday.
Yeah. Well, and I think about, the other thing about the Lions that are waiting, they look like they're going to get Montgomery back, which I think is huge. But it literally, you've got all these quarterbacks in the AFC and the NFC, except for Mahomes, they're the ones that've got to prove something, including Jared Goff. Yes, he's taken the Rams to the Super Bowl, but lost again to Tom Brady. But can he change his script when it comes to that? I've got the Eagles, I've got the Bucks, and I've got the Rams upsetting the Vikings. And I don't know if that's necessarily an upset, but I've got Eagles, Bucks, and Rams.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. Obviously not Philly. Taking Philly. I'm going to take Jalen Daniels. I just like what he does. Baker, he's shown flashes of brilliance this year, but he's also shown why he's had 4 teams in the last 5 years.
And again, I think this is an interview for Cliff Kingsbury. If he can just win one playoff game with Jalen Daniels, he may have even a better chance of getting that Bears job.
And I'll go with Minnesota as well. I just think if you are gambling on Sam Darnold not making mistakes, but if he doesn't turn the ball over that much, they are a better roster top to bottom.
And Brian Flores is the same. Had the issues when he left Miami, but he's turned that defense around, and now is another one that's going to be open. Can the coordinator go back to be a head coach? He's got the defense playing well at Minnesota.
Well, much less that game is now in Arizona, the Minnesota Rams game, which it's going to be a weird vibe for a playoff game. Who knows how many people are going to be there? But
do you make the tickets affordable so people can go? I've not looked on SeatGeek or anything like that. Looking at the depth chart. The other thing, and Josh, I want you to get your picks in as well, is that Aaron Jones has been an addition, but Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, the weapons that Sam Darnold has, and for the record, questionable is what Aaron Jones shows right now. He's going to have to play, I think, to beat the Rams. It's just interesting. The roster that he's done this with as well has been pretty interesting. So I got Eagles, Bucks, Rams. Zach's got Eagles, Commanders, Vikings. Who do you got?
Well, I have the Eagles. I do think that they're going to win, although if Hurts is not able to go, that game gets very interesting. And then, that Commanders Bucks game is one that I'm just like back and forth on. I'm going to go ahead and go Bucks just because the Commanders have kind of limped their way into it, but That's questionable on my choice there. And then I'm going Vikings. I do think that Aaron Jones playing does make a huge difference, and we don't know what's happening with that necessarily, but I'm going Vikings.
Yeah, interesting. Jalen Hurts still listable, but then again, the other thing is, can you pick it? So they don't know who's going to play quarterback, but I can assure you, they are hoping that Jalen Hurts is, and not Kenny Pickett or Tanner McGee. A lot of football this weekend. When we come back, none of these football teams want to go on vacation. What are we going to do? Or do we plan vacation post football? We'll be back right after this. Good stuff.
What did you just say?
What?
What, you were just talking as you stood up?
I just said good stuff.
Oh.
We still we're talking about the Cowboys.
Gosh. Luckily, I wrote the Cowboys off in week 3.
I heard about this when it was still 95 out.
Yeah.
Ironically, Dak is still the quarterback. It wasn't even his fault.
No, he didn't look good. I mean, it was just like. Just looking back at the scores, of the Cowboys, this season, and yeah. I can just look back to it's like the Cowboys beat the Browns, which I was excited about. The Browns were thought to be good, and the Cowboys were actually the underdog in that game, and then just whooped them, which led me to think, oh, hey, it's a good start.
We are a good team. Yeah.
Then we got demolished by the Saints. Lost a close one to the Ravens.
That was not a close game.
Well, I know it was
The
garbage.
final score looks close.
Yeah, it was garbage. But yeah, that was when the Cowboys scored 19 points in the fourth quarter. Then beat the Giants, beat the Steelers, got demolished by the Lions. And, that's about the time that I was like, no, we can't beat a team that's good. Then,
We haven't been able to beat a team that's good.
yeah. Well, then when Dak Prescott got injured, I also was like, well, he hadn't looked himself for a while. I think that injury was I think he was hurt. And it finally just
terrible hamstring month this morning.
Yeah, tore it off the bone.
I don't know exactly how that works, but it sounds pretty painful.
Because he hadn't looked good all season,
Yeah.
and then when he got hurt, he was just throwing a pass. Like, it wasn't like he was trying to like make a move or and which that just made me think he was playing injured, and it finally was just like, had the tweak of the hamstring or something, because he wasn't running the ball at all. Yeah.
Car upside down when I got here. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between. Sometimes you may feel like that when football's over and you don't know what to do. And football's getting close, but thank goodness we got a lot of weekend, a lot of football left up until February, the Super Bowl happens. People plan for vacation. What kind of vacation planner are you, Josh? Are you planner or seat of your pants? What's the plan?
Oh no, I have to be very, very planned.
Y'all got normal, pretty set days and vacations y'all go on that are normal. You probably throw in a few other things in, but vacation-wise planned or?
My personality would be more seat of my pants, just get in the car and go. That's just not how reality works, especially with a family. You can't just get in the car. You have to. Any sort of vacation has months and months of planning.
Well, and so we're kind of the same. I mean, we're a little bit of both, actually. Like, we've got a referee tomorrow. I was a little disappointed about that because I thought, we'll just go to Arlington and watch a game, and it's not going to happen. I think Tracy's got some ballet stuff now anyway, so that's not going to happen. So I've got in the rundown, do you plan post-football vacation? And I throw that out is, I think I know your answer. A few weeks ago, Andy, I need to ask this question to you to see if I was right. Misty's question was, what sports moment in history would you change? If you could go back and change it, I got to see if I got it right.
I don't like the question because everything makes you better in the long run. But I mean, if at the time, Nelson Cruz caught that fly ball, I would be very happy.
Yay, I got it right. Okay, good. Now moving on. That's all I see.
But it didn't happen, and then it made the 2023 World Series like that much better of an experience because you got so close and then you didn't get it. So it's like I don't want to go back and change.
That's why people cried.
Yeah,
That's why it brought a tear to a glass eye. Just that.
Not yourself.
Hey, well, never mind. Other people cried. So post football, you mentioned March Madness. How do you handle? And I know you're a big baseball guy. Zach is as well. Evan, a lot of our buddies are big baseball guys. We fall in. Zach and I to the golf. Enjoy time of watching golf.
But how would that sentence be written? Well, there were a lot of commas in there.
There'd be a lot of should be an acronym. But anyway, yes, I think that's what I put down on my tea time. So how do you get through? I mean, because baseball is 162 games. It's a long season. Even if you're good, it takes a bit, and if you're bad, it's even worse.
Yeah.
So how do you handle post-football? I mean, football, I say it all the time, football just leaves the field. It's always in season. Because you're going to have trades, you're going to have the draft, you have a schedule release. The NFL is still going to be visible.
I'd start going into withdrawals, start getting shakes. What to do on the weekend.
Yeah. Bounce around from Lytle, Mulligan, and Potosi Lytle.
This year at the college football playoffs, it kind of changed a little bit because there was more meaningful football post the end of the year. But that Thanksgiving weekend, where it's the end of the college football season as a whole, is always like, I'm kind of like, oh man, because your Saturdays, you wake up and you just turn game day on because it's just what you do, and then you're doing whatever else that you have to do to just checking out which games do I kind of want to turn on. Even if you're not sitting down and watching it, you turn on a game, and then maybe bounce around until there's I say that, like, get your popcorn game, the game that you're like, I'm going to sit down and watch this game, which is there's not many of those for me outside of like watching like Baylor or the Cowboys until you get into these postseason games, and even the wild card round. I'm not just going to sit and watch football all day. We've got basketball games at the same time that, anyway, in that early game. So, but as the playoffs get more and more deep, you get to that. I've got to sit down and watch this, and after that, you're right. It's just there's
February's a bleak time.
Yeah, it's cold outside.
So you've got the national championship will be January 20th. Super Bowl is, I believe, February 9th. But the good thing for you, pitchers and catchers report February 12th.
Yeah, but they don't turn, you don't have games to watch on TV and,
As much as I'm a baseball fan, the pitchers and catchers, that really doesn't do a lot for me. Most of spring training doesn't really do a lot.
It's 10 or 15 minutes of reading, that you could catch up on everything. Who's injured? What's the box score look like from yesterday? Is there anybody that's having a standout camp? But it's not. It's not until opening day that it really.
And you mentioned February, and you're hoping, again, we live in Texas. Of course, right now we're getting winter. You're supposed to get it. But as you start you hope the weather warms up where maybe you can go play golf. You can do those things.
At least get out.
The golfing world, for me, really doesn't start. It starts before the Masters, but not really. I like the AT&T. The Waste Management has its own flair to it. But to me,
Flair, that's an interesting way of putting what goes on.
well, it's churching it up a little bit for those. Anyway, if you've not seen it, it's rather entertaining. Animal House and Old School tee off on 17. But to me, post football is interesting. And I ask you, as Baylor people, has the conference changes been noticeable in college basketball yet to draw you into to say, oh, okay, cool. Like the other night, I don't know who ended up winning. I was watching it. Who won between there? That's the thing. Bobby Hurley and Arizona State went and played Kansas at one time. They were up. Don't know who won. Has the changes in the conferences rolled over to basketball to be intriguing yet? And can it get you to March Madness and to the Masters?
I watch college basketball a little bit. It's Tuesday nights and Saturdays. It's something that you can just kind of turn on. But it's kind of like the rest. Until there's certain games that I am more intrigued by than others. But as far as how the conference really shakes out, I haven't decided that I know that yet.
Well, it's not that entertaining. I mean, I'm a Baylor fan. I'll watch Baylor basketball, but college basketball outside of just rooting for my team, until March Madness or at least conference tournament, I don't really even care about that much.
But that's my point of this post football that's coming is obviously there's always going to be stuff to talk about here, but we joke about the 3-hour show that could be done here.
Oh no, February. There's we run into this every year. You once football season's over, and as much as I love baseball, and I do, I watch a lot of baseball. I keep up with what's going on. But it's not intriguing for most people out in radio land to listen to. So I keep it to myself.
Did that guy talk about war? Is that the card game or what's going on?
Well, yeah, I say war on the radio, and I was thinking that there's probably 10% of the audience that even knows.
They pull over and call and make sure their bunker's good before anything happens.
But anyway, the Saturdays post football season turn to me as that's generally when I try to get major projects done.
That's when it's time to spend time with your kids, guys.
Oh well, I mean that's
You've been ignoring them
all year. Yeah, but it's major project outdoor time because it's not hot yet, so you can go out and try to clear some brush, take care of things like that. That's the only time of year that I have time to do that. Because you say I have time But I say I don't have time to do things sometimes, and man reminds me that, well, you just chose to watch football all day. Like, well, but that's what I had to do. Yeah.
I said what I said. But you start looking at in the basketball shakeup, of course, a lot of these guys were already in the SEC, but there's good basketball happening on. But again, will it draw your attention enough once football's over to pay attention to it? For me, and the irony is, the majority of the good games are during the week. I mean, they call it Big Monday for a reason on ESPN and others that you draw. They'll have some because they're going to start College game day. Reese Davis will get a small break, and he'll go from McAfee and Herb Street and Dez and Saban to Seth Greenberg, Jay Williams, and Jay Billis, and going to definitely coming down a little bit, I'm sure. But I just think it's interesting for that. So anyway, start planning those vacations, but you don't have to till about February 12th. All right, so as we head into the weekend, tonight we picked our games for the NFL. A lot of great games this weekend. Feel free to find them. Go get you a place. Go to Mulligan's, Lytle, Potosi Live. Find a place to enjoy those games this weekend. Who wins tonight? Texas, Ohio State, and why?
Ohio State. But man, why? I don't know. Just because I don't want Texas to win.
It's Ohio State, just because I trust Ryan Day so much. He's won every big game. He's always been.
Yeah, ask Michigan fans.
Ohio State is a 5-point favorite, and I don't see it. I don't. And it.
Do you think
it's obviously one score, so it's not like some insurmountable thing. But
do we get a repeat tonight of what we saw last night?
Well, you could only that's the dream. I mean, a game that's like down to the wire, and you're just following it and just don't know what's going to happen, and then some kicker that's pacing around, sweating, has to go kick a field goal.
Auburn, the guy last name Auburn who goes to Austin, lives at Austin, and goes to Texas.
Oh, that guy, he about had to just move out of town.
Okay, what about the guy? Hey, what about the guy from Georgia, the sideline guy that cost them that they were inside on the 7 sideline because the referee ran into the kid. And they went back and had to settle for a field goal. He gone from Georgia. But anyway, all right, so I've got Texas winning. Partially because my bracket says so, and I'd like to stick with my bracket.
There's no way to change that.
Yeah, I can't change my bracket. And number 2, I think yours plays well, but Arch somehow with that goal line stuff makes an appearance. And I have Texas winning, and I do hope it's close because it just doesn't make it fun.
Final score.
Final score is going to be 34-27, Texas.
So you're taking the over.
Sure.
Okay.
I just threw out numbers. It sounded
I threw out football score numbers. 12-5.
What do you 12-5? That would be a pitcher's duel. What do you got?
That would be terrible. But I mean,
we had that for a half last night.
Got to have a safety there. Those are always fun.
Yeah.
I do think it'll be in the 20s. I think the score will be similar to last night. So let's just go ahead and say 28-24.
I've got 30-21.
Oh wow. That means you turn it off earlier because the game will be over. Hey, appreciate it. Thanks, Zach, for coming in. And Josh, great stuff. Hey, tune in, download, subscribe, rate, review of the Hodge Pack. Don't forget JB coming in at 10. Have a great weekend. We'll be back next week. Sports Life and everything in between right here on 106.9 The Country Job. Action.